Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Black heart, black mind, black end. Again, hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Check this out, y'all. Real quick, I want y'all to understand this. I want y'all to listen to this. Hear me out. Number one, I'm going to clarify something regarding the Latina sister from the Ummah. I misremembered the results of the DNA study she did, or DNA test she got done. I misremembered the percentage and the region. I remembered 11% West African. I was wrong. It's 1% Senegalese. So, hermana, I stand corrected on that. Also, if you are not out to take away men's rights, and you're not out to give women men's rights at the expense of men, then we're not enemies. We're not opponents. To the rest of you, I want you to understand, this is a practical example of when I said that Islam is a solution. Now, in the beginning, I did not understand that what she wrote in her post was meant specifically for ladies who have multiple options from which to choose, especially high-value men. Most women are not going to be pursued by two high-value men in their lives. There may be some. I don't think she has a high probability of even meeting those women. And I'm not blaming her for it. It's just not probability. It's not statistically likely for anyone. But if that's who she's talking to, that's who she's talking to. Even if she never met them, doesn't mean that her post can't be addressed to them. It's better that she explained that, and I'm glad she explained it now. But if she's not trying to take away the rights of men, fair enough. We're not opponents. I do say this. The genders are in conflict, but we're not opponents. Do I think she's realistic? Not necessarily. But it's her right to choose to address a small portion of a population or the majority. She's not in the wrong, but I don't think most I don't think most of the ladies will hear what she's going to be saying. But then again, one thing I do say is this: what she's telling women that have options, they already know. Because women that don't have options are doing the same thing. They're arrogating to themselves certain rights and options they don't even have. I do want to point that out. Next, let me move on to the next topic. Right quick. I want you gentlemen to watch your blood sisters closely. When you get involved with someone, and I hope it's only in a marriage, but in that case you do, or even if you're discussing marriage, hell, if you're involved with someone romantically, watch your blood sisters. So I mentioned my friends to you from childhood. Several days ago, I was walking with my daughters down my own street, and I saw my friend Iron Mike's mother. I'm giving nicknames only. She told me that my man Pinky's sister was the one that was telling on him to his first wife, now ex-wife, and that's why they split. Now, if your sister tells on you to your ex-wife trying to split y'all up, she's more than likely going to say that you're cheating. If that's the case, you must understand that's someone you cannot trust. Here's where it gets worse. I remember finding out that he and her were divorcing. He did not know why she was leaving. He simply said one thing, and that was, I don't know why, but she just came home one day and said she wasn't happy anymore. That's it. And the only consolation he had was that he was now free to tear our hometown up in half, meaning he was just going to run through as many broads as possible. That's not something that a close friend of mine who can confide in me would say if he had been cheating previously. I do know this. She slapped him when he was handcuffed years ago. He's the one that did something kind of wrong to his mom. He stole his mom's car to go up to the northern part of our county to see some ugly girl. Wasn't even worth that. And he got involved in a high-speed chase because he didn't have a license and he wasn't going to pull over. So crashed the car, and he was already in the neighborhood by the time he crashed it. Before the cops actually caught up with the car, he ditched. He snuck all the way back to the house. He got into his bedroom, in his bed, before the cops even showed up to tell his mother that something had happened. And so mom came in, woke all of them up, and when she pulled the covers off of him, he was still in his clothes because he snuck in his bed with his clothes on. Stop and think about that. While he was handcuffed, his sister slapped him. So that means that she was not above doing dirty things and taking cheap shots. Did he deserve a slap? I'm sure. But while he was handcuffed, she waited to that point. That shows you what she's like, how she gets down. And so for whatever reason, she did not want this particular brother of hers to succeed in a marriage if what Iron Mike's mom said is true. The sister is not alive to protect herself anymore. Iron Mike's mom is feuding with her mother, who is still alive. Her and Pinky's mom, who's still alive. But that's why I'm saying to you that maybe it's not true. However, there's evidence that it could be. Before I find out if it's true or not, I wanted to say to you listening, watch your blood sisters, because many of you have blood sisters that are trustworthy. But if you keep an eye on them, you'll find out if they are or not. And that's important. I don't want you to fall victim to the gossip of your own blood sisters. Now, if your blood sisters always had your back, then great. If you don't know, watch. If she's been treacherous before, watch her. But understand, gentlemen, this selection in which the Western woman engages so as to eliminate 80% of men, really, from being with anyone and ever risking having their own kids, because that's how they view it, it's not something that they stop at just because they're your blood relatives. This I wanted you to understand. There is a probability and a chance. If your blood sister ain't loyal to you, there's a probability and a chance that she would gladly throw you under the bus when it comes to women, and you ain't around simply because she wants you to fail. And if there is another brother and she's doing this to you and not to that other brother of yours, then you must try to figure out why she chose you and wants you to fail and wants to sabotage you. You must try to figure out what the reason is, because that means there's something she has designated about you to make you inferior and less deserving than your other brother. Now, if it's something to do with your personality and you're the reason for that, be honest about it. Because I don't hate your sisters. I don't hate your moms, your grandmoms, or your aunts, and I don't want any of them that are innocent to ever be blamed by you or anyone else. That's not what I'm looking for. And it's very important that you understand this. I'm not saying this for the approval of them or for any other women for that matter, because most women ain't never going to listen to what I say. And even if they heard the first half, they wouldn't listen this far. So they would sit up and just say, well, I mean, Black Mind is mad because of the women he didn't get when he was younger. It's not going to change their minds. I'm saying this to you because it's the right thing for you to understand that in the end, you must look out for even your blood sisters if they've been treacherous before or if you're not sure. I'm not even telling you to go and be suspicious of the ones that have always had your back before. Wouldn't do that. And I'm not telling you to hold a grudge if you're the reason that the relationship is bad. Because if you're the reason and you know it, you need to go and fix that. But understand, gentlemen, you could be innocent. And if your sister has been treacherous to you or just can't stand you and you ain't the reason for a grudge with anybody, period, including her, you better go and start taking a look. Because the ones blood related to you are not guaranteed to not try to hold you back reproductively just because you're related by blood. There's one other thing I'm going to say, and this is regarding Sister Be Proud, and Sergeant Willie Pete. What Sister Be Proud sent to me was that the haplogroup identified as being the Arab paternal haplogroup found in Somalia that's not actually Arab, but rather it's native to the Horn. And that any Arab ancestry that shows up in these DNA tests must be coming maternally, because the haplogroup that is paternal that they have is largely their own. I don't know about haplogroups that much. I'll take a word for it if this is something in which he's been interested before. I will say again that Somalis have not bowed. I will say that I do agree with her that their pride is a blessing and a curse. They don't even listen to each other. They just don't do it. And this has torn the country apart. Sister Be Proud, you were not 100% correct in your rebuttal. You were right for defending your people when they're not wrong. But understand, this is not as simple as you made it either. See, SWP is not just all about black men going and sticking it up in every other group of women. It's not that. A lot of brothers are past that, especially when we get into our late 20s, we're past that. We do not respect when other groups of people are against us specifically, singling us out, saying, for instance, telling their daughters you can marry anybody as long as he ain't black, be it black African or African American. We don't respect that, and we don't have to. We never have to tolerate being singled out, ever. He is also right that when it comes down to it, black folks have been picked on by black folks and by non-blacks alike. But it's not that he's not saying what he says because he wants you all to have been enslaved. It's not that. We don't look and say, well, in order to be black, you have to have been enslaved. That wouldn't make sense. Every person on the planet nowadays descends from those who have been enslaved and those who have owned slaves, and those who are free and never owned anyone else either. Everybody alive has all three ancestries. However, you do have a right to defend your people when the charges are false. Everyone does. It's not as simple as you made it, though. I do want you to understand, he ain't shallow. He wrong at times. He's right at other times. I'll tell you he's wrong about Islam. But then again, he's wrong about religion in general. I would tell you that. I'm a Muslim and he's an atheist. We're not going to agree on religion. But he's not stupid or shallow. That's not his problem. His issue is that he actually has been fed this information. And to be honest with you, there was a time I was fed the same information, that everybody was against black people, and that between black people, everybody was against the Central and the West Africans with the dark skin and the 4C hair and the wide noses and big lips, and the names that sound like something out of Tarzan movie. That's what I was told. It was Bantu versus everybody else. Black versus Berber and Arab, and Bantu versus any Negroes that had any slightly more recessive traits than we did. That's what I was taught, that the world was like this. And before I understood that the devil is real and the nature of Shaitan's grudge with Adam and by extension with us, may Allah be but peace to Adam and may Allah be pleased with Eve. Before I understood that, it darn near drove me crazy. I mean, I was at a point where I couldn't love God. I couldn't like him, let alone love him because of that. I was like, you must exist because your creation exists. You created white folks. You gave them the best weapons, worst race in the world, and turned them loose on everybody else, and you ain't saved nobody from them yet. And to make matters worse, everybody else is crapping on us, accepting their superiority when they're actually the most morally inferior race according to your moral standards you set. I damn near turned against God because of it. I'm not proud of it, but I darn near did. This is before I became Muslim. I don't want any Muslims coming to me and telling me to be different now. Don't talk to me like I was a Muslim and then I became this way. I'm not accepting any such corrections. And I've told some Muslims before that this was the case before Islam, and they were like, your faith was really weak, Aki. You were damn near Shaitan. I'm like, man, how about you fit the guck out my face? Man, yuck fool. You didn't hear what I just said. I can't stand when people are stupid and don't listen. But unfortunately, that's what happens. So, you'll have to play his video again. But you'll have to play videos from before so that you can actually fully understand the depth and you don't underestimate him. If you want to win the debate, he will listen if you can bring some facts. And there are facts that support your case. But you can't underestimate him. There's not really much or anything else that I wanted to say right now. Be proud. I appreciate you coming to the defense of Muslims in general, but that was something you did by extension. I'm not saying that you did it intentionally, but it's something you did by extension. Yeah, I'm proud of you for that, even if that wasn't your initial intent. But that pride, understand, that pride also comes before the fall. It gets everybody. And to be honest with you, there is a Somali diaspora for the same reason that Somalis were never enslaved by anybody. Understand this too. Any Somalis that enslaved a Bantu deserve to be enslaved. Any Somalis that called Bantu Abid deserve to be enslaved. Most don't do this anymore, thank God. And I admire your generation for throwing aside that tribalism. It's not fair to you that your elders forced you all into a diaspora before allowing or tolerating you all throwing the tribalism aside. Because it was something they should have thrown aside without having to bring Somalia to the point at which they brought it, north or south. And they failed in this. And them allowing you all to throw aside some of the tribalism, at this point, it's a right decision they made, but they made it too late. They should have made this before you all were born, and they should have done it for the right reasons, not because they're war exhausted or shell-shocked. That was their oppression of you. And you're not required to forgive them for this. Thank you all for listening to Black Heart, Black Mind, Blackout, Assalamu Alaikum, and Black Heterosexual, Non-Select Male Power, just because they don't like it, and Black Patriarchy until extinction or Judgment Day.